directing this video directly to the management of the SANDF, to the chief of the SANDF, General Shoke, you in person, because I know you will be seeing this video at some or other stage. This is also directed to the chief of HR in the SANDF. This is also directed to the Secretary for Defence, and it is directed to the Honourable Minister of Defence. And in the last instance, it is also, and most importantly, directed to the President of this country, His Excellency President Ramaphosa. Dear Sir, you promised this country a new deal. Your government promised the people of this country a new deal. Our soldiers have been sitting around waiting for decades, always being the last people to be paid, always being the last people to get increments, always being the last people to be informed about their rights, about what's happening with their salaries, what's happening with their benefits. And on the one day, sir, on the one day in the history of this country that soldiers became so hurtful, and no, I'm not sorry to use the word, when they became so hurtful that they took to the union buildings in a legal protest march, which is their constitutional right, which was backed up by the courts of this country. That day, our soldiers were branded as criminals. We sit here today, 9 years later, almost a decade, and absolutely nothing has changed. Soldiers are always the last ones to get their increments in the defense force or in the public service. Why should soldiers are always the first ones who are called when the crime rate is too high, when the borders are being flooded, when there's problems, when there's natural disasters, when the government can't run hospitals in Northwest properly. Then the soldiers are called in first. Then soldiers are expected to come and clean up the mess that everybody else in the public service has been making. Yet those very same people who are making a mess in the public service are the ones who get an increment before soldiers are even looked at. In the meantime, soldiers' unions are ignored as if they don't exist. This nonsense must end. And we are not even sorry to use a harsh word like nonsense, because it is nonsense. A country that doesn't look after its soldiers does not care about its soldiers. If you cared about your soldiers, you would keep them updated with what's happening with their salary and their increments. Why is it left to their union to go around and source all kinds of information to keep its members more updated than you can? You are supposedly in command of these soldiers, should have been doing that work, not their union. And this is exactly why Sandu exists. This is exactly why we have the right to exist. This is exactly why members keep on joining Sandu. And I want to appeal to you, and I want to tell you today, I want to appeal to members, come on, join Sandu. Stand together. Let us end this nonsense once and for all. You will not be taken seriously. You will not be heard unless you unionize, you join this union, and we stand together and we fight this fight. You have to be taken seriously at some or other stage. The longer you don't unionize, the longer you will not be taken seriously. There's way too many soldiers out there who have not unionized yet. And you're paying the price for it today. Yes, even you, sir, you are not a member of the union and watching this video with enthusiasm, because this union today is giving you information that your commander should have been given you. The same commander that tells you, and with whom you agree, apparently, that there shouldn't be military unions. And to the president of this country, I say to you, sir, shame on you. Shame on you, shame on your government, shame on your chief of SANDF, shame on you for having your soldiers have to wait. Let's not soft soap this issue. One does not neglect your soldiers this way. And that it takes a national secretary of a union to tell you this is even a bigger shame to you. You should hang your heads in shame. Get the Treasury Authority through to the Department of Defense. The minister has done her part so that we can implement, so the department can implement, and that soldiers can get their increments. Soldiers have been battered and bruised, and when they complain, they're called ill-disciplined. They are battered and bruised, but when they are needed, they are just deployed. Why would any employee in his right mind take this kind of abuse?